you have the best tip jar in the state of Utah.
Yeah,
like it's like 50-gallon bucket.
Oh, I'm glad you remember it.
I can. How can you forget?
That tip jar.
He's got it. He's gonna show it. That's it. It's
a big
so
ass
good.
Do it for the
galvanized
money.
bucket.
Has made me more money than any song I've ever written.
Welcome back to the ZHZ Podcast. I'm Zach, and as always, I'm here with my co-host Matt. How's it going, Matt?
I'm living the dream, Z, and I am stoked because today we're catching up with Old Man Johnson, Danny Carver, Jordan Olson, and Mike Lomax.
These guys just released their new track, Spider Bomb, which was actually recorded years ago. But here's the thing, they're not currently an active band. We're going to dig into why they may have stepped back and whether a reunion might be on the horizon.
Plus, we'll talk about Danny's other project, Woodcarver and the Hard-Hearted, and Mike's double life as the drummer for Z Frequency. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I can hear Jordan's blinker.
Jordan, let us know when you get into it.
No, it's all right, man.
No, we espouse safe driving, man.
Yeah.
You please use your blinkers.
Yeah, don't look at the camera. Just look ahead, and you can we'll just talk to you and
officially waive ZHZ all liability for this podcast on my body and personal well-being. You have that recorded now.
Thanks.
To get things rolling, I need to come correct with you boys. On the episode that preceded this one with John McCallum, one of the members of the one of the hosts of the show, it was me, referred to Old Man Johnson as I quote, a bunch of self-important dicks, unquote. I wanted to make sure that I set the record straight in that it was a completely tongue-in-cheek comment, because I would really like to avoid being the subject of a diss track or an unfortunate Super Bowl halftime show in the future. But also, if the three of you convene and decide that you would like to beat me up, I will gladly take my punishment.
I'll provide the sock and the soap in the sock for you guys.
How the hell are you guys, man? It's Old Man Johnson, right?
Right.
It's been a long time.
I think we should actually take that and add that into our official bio. Spotify, it's going to be updated. What was it exactly?
Self-important dicks.
Basically what we've been doing since 2000. So yeah.
Nail on the head.
Love it, man.
Yeah, by the way, holy cow, where did you get that Old Man Johnson shirt?
I got it. I'm not going to, I can't really, we try to keep the show family friendly, so I can't really go into what I had to do to get this shirt. But this is absolutely an original run from back in the day.
Wow.
As I was going through, I knew I had a CD, and so here gracing the little shelf is my copy of Life Saving Apparatus. And inside that CD cover, I found a treasure trove of stickers.
Oh my God.
So I am loaded up on the OMJ swag, and it's
seriously, wow,
it's very nice.
You got to start sticking those things around.
Do you have the OMJ lunchbox?
Oh, I want a lunchbox.
No, I don't have the lunchbox.
Yes.
I do remember the lunchbox though, and I thought that was so cool. That was so cool. So
that's cool. That's the Winbaker original art on a T-shirt.
Yeah,
that is a blast from the past. That is super cool to see.
It is. I was so stoked to find it, man.
Heck yeah,
that's awesome.
My favorite merch that we ever made around that same time, we had a song that just had Wim's head on it.
It was just Wim's face right on the front, like.
Oh man,
I'm actually wearing that, but I'm not going to show it.
I appreciate that. So, all right. Well, usually we follow a format. It's like a past, present, and future, but every time we get the whole band on, it's kind of cool. So, how did you guys all start, like, as a unit of like, I know you guys have all had backgrounds in music and stuff, and you're all phenomenal musicians, but when did you all get together and go, we're going to make this crazy band called Old Man Johnson?
Yeah. I think it started. I got home from my mission in 1999, and I called up Jordan because I had met Jordan just before my mission, and he was playing in bands, and I thought he was a pretty cool guy. Maybe we could do something together. I was just trying to see who was around and still doing music.
Right.
And so me and Jordan started writing some songs together. And then in a totally different vein, I had also met Mike through working at Sam Goody. And
Nice.
I started a separate band with Mike and Brad for a little bit. And then after a while doing that, we thought me and Jordan needed a drummer. So we just brought Mike over. That's kind of the short story.
They had a cool band name too. They were the Big Unit, which is
the Big Units. That's so fun. Every now and then in the spectrum of bands, especially some local bands, but even like there's some other bigger bands, but like some of like the lyrics that you guys write are very I wouldn't say cheesy, but they're right there. In fact, I got to bring this up with you, Danny.
Okay.
I was getting ready to come down and start this, and my daughter, she's like, "Are they coming in, or who is it?" And I said, "It's Old Man Johnson." She's like, "Oh," and I'm all, "They're the ones that sing the Walmart song." She's like, "Oh my gosh, oh my god! Well, can I ask them to sing it? Will they sing it?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're probably not going to sing." We love that song, right? So I taught her that song, and we sing it now we have to sing it every time we go to Walmart, and
awesome.
Wow.
It drives mom crazy. But she had to mention it. She's all, "Let him know that I love that song," and ask him if he would sing a line or two. So I'm throwing that out there. You don't have to. I don't expect you to. But
yeah, that song's one of our biggest hits, and actually, that song started with Jordan. He came up with most. Well, we wrote. I think he started off, and then we finished off the lyrics together. But
I remember exactly where we were when we started that one. We were in Layton, and I think the Layton Walmart was relatively new in that area.
Yeah.
And Danny and I think we had gone over to Graywell CD when it was over there in Layton.
I know exactly where it is, or where it was.
We were probably hanging up. Yeah, where it was, right? We were probably hanging up posters, grabbing some Taco Bell, and then we're driving home, and we're talking about Walmart being this big deal, and we were just amazed that there was a McDonald's inside the Walmart. Like, that's the most insane thing. You can buy your socks and buy a Big Mac on the way out.
Right.
And I think we started writing that song just on the drive home. We got back to Danny's place or my place. Can't remember where we were. And I think the song just kind of poured out just on that drive home.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Great. It's a great song, and it's fun to sing. And
you can
it's
buy
so
some
true.
new Dickies, man.
Yeah,
I
actually thought it was the dumbest song in the world. I didn't.
It is the
think
dumbest song in the
anywhere.
world. It is the dumbest song in the world, but that's what makes it so great. And the fact
But
that
it's
it's
also
popular,
one of the most relatable songs in the world.
Correct.
Because yeah, absolutely. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
I know exactly. It paints such a vivid picture of just your average trip to Walmart. I mean, it's
no lie. No lie. From the nice old lady at the door to the slippery signs on wet floors, like it's all right there. It's all right there. And yeah, no, I love that song.
Nice.
So, but I want to focus most of this podcast, and I actually just absolutely adore you guys, but we'll have to have you back more often, but...
aside from the fact that we've known you guys for so long that we could probably do about a 6-hour episode of just reminiscing and riffing off of each other and making each other laugh at inappropriate times.
We were talking about the when we were at the Oingo Boingo concert the other day. It's like, man, if we could have recorded that conversation, that would have been amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's always when the best conversations happen, right?
Right.
On the moment.
Well, and thank you and Greg, by the way, for letting us glom onto your reserved table.
It was great to have you there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it was like it was funny because I was coming into that show, I was excited and sad at the same time,
Right.
Like, man, this is the last time. oh man, really loved, like, I almost felt like it was like this nugget because, for 15, 20 years, there was nothing. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, most of the band is back together. They got a new singer, but I mean, it was so cool. And I got hooked onto that right away. And it was like every year, as much as I think 1 year I missed.
Yeah.
But every year they came, I would come to the shows. And then, so it's the last gig. And the first thing I see when I walk into the building, I look up and there's Mike and there's Greg.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, sweet. And so, yeah, I never left the table. I think all night.
Such a good show.
Yeah, it was good. I felt kind of bad because they had originally planned just that one night, and then they decided, oh, we're going to do a matinee show at 3:00, and I'm like, oh, I wish I would have gone to that one because I'd be in bed by now.
I think most of the people that were at the 8:00, the 9:00 show were like, I wish I'd gone to the 3:00 show because we're going to all be up way past our bedtimes now.
Yeah, and they were a little tired on stage. You could tell that it kicked their butt, but they did the best they could, and it was still awesome.
Yep.
So, but yeah.
Anytime I go to those club shows, I'm always standing around waiting for the band to start, and there's always people saying, "Why do these things start so late?" Like everybody just wishing they were home in bed.
Well, and the funny thing is like when Hooray Who was doing the reunion shows and we had a couple of gigs at some of the clubs, I would tell like coworkers and stuff and some of my friends, and I'm like, yeah, hey, we're gonna be playing. They're like, oh, cool, yeah, I totally want to see it. And they're like, are you what time? I think we go on at like 11. They're like, whoa,
at night?
Sorry, man. I can't do that.
It's too late, man. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah. I'm like, well, to be fair, I always take a nap when I have to do those shows. So,
oh man,
yeah. So, you guys just released a new song called Spider Bomb that is absolutely kick ass.
I love this track, boys. I absolutely love it. I can't get enough of it. It is just, it moves rhythmically. It's like really, really interesting and unconventional. The rhythm of the phrasing of the lyrics versus Mike's beats, and again,
the guitar work is just phenomenal.
I mean, all of it. It all just is. It's so just complex, but it rocks. It rocks so hard.
Right. So let's hear the story behiend that. Yeah, tell me the story behind that.
Go ahead, guys. As I tell the Walmart story, I think this one was written in the same way. We had just gotten back together. It was like 2011, and we decided, hey, let's get back together, write a bunch of songs. We'd been kind of broke up for about 7 years or so, and we started just writing riffs in Mike's studio, right where he's sitting right now. And we just started writing riffs, and we wrote a whole handful. The next rehearsal we come to, and I can't remember, Danny and we had been talking about spiders or something like that. And on the way to rehearsal, just like this idea for how, just the idea of how much I hated spiders was like, I can relate. 100%. They're so disgusting. Yeah. And we just got to Mike's house, and I remember I got there early for some reason, which is absolutely not like me for anything. And I get there early, and I just pulled out a notepad, and I think most of the song was just written, about an hour before band practice, sitting in front of Mike's house. And then we got together, polished it up, and it just kind of worked.
Wow.
And then we took 15 years to actually record it and finish it.
Exactly. Right. You're like, sounds great. We'll see you in 15 years.
100%.
I know the feeling.
We tracked, all those tracks came from, what was it, 2011? Did we determine?
2012, wasn't it? I thought it was 2012.
Or it was New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, we had a recording session leading into 2012, and we just, every year we talked about mixing it and finally releasing it, and just life has just got busy, and it never happened. And so 15 years later, we finally mixed it and got it out there. So
how we would get, go ahead.
We would get together about once or twice a year and record something on it. Like, let's try to get the song done, and we'd end up doing like the background vocals, or we'd end up recording some noise tracks with a guitar or something like that. And like, so we did that for so long we'd almost forget about it every time we got together again. And so we had all these tracks, and I think Mike and Jordan had to sift through those all and try to figure out what would all work and everything. So there was a lot of stuff on there. I mean, there's all kinds of sounds in there. Every time you listen to it, you can hear something else,
Yeah. Well, and it's like several songs in one song. Like it just, I don't know how to describe it, but it moves me, and it moves me in the way that like Oingo Boingo used to move me, in some of their harder stuff. Very impressive. I love the song. It's my favorite.
Awesome.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, I still love the Walmart song, but it's right there with.
Well, you guys do such an amazing job of mixing, and Zach was like almost. I think quirky is maybe a reasonable descriptor of lyrically. It's always very lighthearted, very very clever,
right?
But with really insane musicianship and rock and roll, man. You guys rock my socks off.
There was one time I tried to submit lyrics a long time ago and sent them to Jordan. I don't know if he remembers this because it was a long time ago. And he sent it back and was like, it's got to be funny. Always funny. If it's not funny, it's not Old Man Johnson. So
were your lyrics not funny?
Yeah, they must have been serious is what they must have been. Yeah.
Yep.
I can't remember the lyrics. I'm kind of interested in hearing them now.
Ones that I sent?
Yeah.
I never sent them to Danny. I just sent them to Jordan.
Oh.
And it wasn't for that song. It was just for any song. Like, here's some lyrics. Let's do something with it. And he's like, I don't know. I mean, he was nice about it.
Yeah.
But, it's like, I think it needs to be funny. Always funny. I'm like, okay.
I will say on that topic, like, there is one line that I've always hated in one of our songs, and it was actually in the Walmart song. And it was because that was early on when Danny and I started writing lyrics together and stuff. And there is a departure from that theme of always funny. In that first line, it's like, Walmart is my favorite store, and I shop there because I'm poor. While I saw it before, nice old lady at the door. Thinking of myself again, wondering where I have been. When do boys turn into men? Because I cry when I bruise my shin. And I think Danny and I, I've listened to that over the years. And I'm like, I wish we would have just kept it, tongue in cheek or because I remember Danny and I were in this phase of our life where we said to each other, man, how do we become thousandaires? We need to somehow make $1,000 a month. We were trying to make $1,000 a month, and we were just like, how do we make $1,000 a month? And so we were in this, like, we were very much like thinking about our lives and what we were doing. We were in our very early 20s. And I remember that line snuck in there, and it's like the one quasi-serious line in anything that we did, and then I'm still kicking myself for it.
That's so funny that it actually haunts you. It's like,
how dare we say anything real?
Like,
how dare we say something introspective?
Exactly.
So you guys have recently put a ton of music on Spotify, made it available to the general public. Your 2000 album, A Conversation with Tomfoolery, is there. Life-Saving Apparatus, the EP that I have right here, is there. You've got a couple of singles up there as well. The Spider Bomb that we've been talking about, and then Sucker for Your Love, which just came out last year, didn't it?
Yeah,
but which is all material from years ago that you're finally getting around to finishing up and releasing.
We've had that stuff laying around doing nothing because it was all on physical media for years and years, and every time we got together we'd think we should really get that up on streaming and just have it doing something or have a way for people to listen to it, and we were just really lazy about doing it. And luckily,
we can relate though. I mean, because Old Man Johnson and Hooray Who were we were, as relevant as local bands can be. We were actually, working bands at the same time. And,
Right.
And now in recent years, are kind of dusting things off and getting things back out there. But not that you guys have been dormant over the last, 10, 20 years.
No, I mean, you guys still act like you guys like the camaraderie and friendship you guys all the three of you have is almost like you're still a band, like there's no drama there. There's no, I mean, maybe there's drama and you just don't share with us, but you know what I mean?
Don't say anything here, guys.
Exactly. There's like, you know what I mean? Like usually there's something bitter about it, but yeah. So
no, I would say Mike and Danny, I would say, these two are some of my absolute best friends still to this day. And we don't get together as much as I wish we would, but we get the families together every now and then. And we still are, sending text threads back and forth. Every now and then we jam. Mike and I jam together in a project, I guess it's been 5 or 6 years ago now. And Danny and Mike still do a ton of music together. And so, yeah, it's just like we did get together to form a band, but it has definitely been a 25 year, 25 with Mike, 27 with Danny year friendship. That's just, it's really natural for us to just hang out, talk, laugh. These guys are some of like the funniest dudes I know. Still to this day, I would joke with my wife. I'm like, "Hey, Jen, look what Danny said," and I shared some dumb thing that Danny said, and it just cracks me up. And these guys are just, we're all genuine friends, so it's really easy to keep chugging along doing things.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even though we haven't, we've played in different projects here and there, but, we still, when there's a concert coming to town of someone we want to see, these guys are the first people I call to see if they want to go to it. And so we still do stuff together and hang out and talk all the time. So
right on. And so you guys, like you mentioned kind of separate projects and stuff. And I know, Danny, you do, you kind of have your own thing called Wood Carver and the Hard-Hearted. And I think you have Mike. I know you have Mike on occasion come up and play with you in some of the places like Slackwater that you shows that you've done and stuff. You still active with that project?
Yeah. I still play a couple times a month with that project. Most of the time it's a solo gig, and it's been nice to just get me to continue to work on my craft as a musician and have a reason to practice and go out and play, in front of people once in a while. And then, depending on where I'm playing, a lot of times I'll ask Mike to come along and play along on the drums. And that's always it's been awesome because we've played together for so long. We had a band called The Hard-Hearted without the Wood Carver, but that was just more of a collaborative effort between the four of us that were in that band.
Okay.
And, we learned a ton of songs in that band. So Mike knows all the songs I know, so it's easy to bring him onto a show with
he's kind of a plug
little
and play.
Practice. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and Mike's been, and it's so funny how just the incestuous relationship that this kind of this world of musicians has among ourselves. I know. I promised myself.
Nice. Wow.
I promised myself. I gotta use words that make people cringe a little bit. Like self-important dick and things like that.
Yeah.
But back when Zach and I were first starting in with Hooray Who in like 1995. We would rehearse and then Mike would come and drum for us when we'd play live shows.
Yeah.
Right.
Mike was the original drummer for Hooray Who.
Wim Becker was a member of Old Man Johnson for a period of time. Wim was in Hooray Who. Wim is, currently works on, several tracks on Z Frequency. Mike is basically the drummer. He is the drummer for Z Frequency.
It's almost like if Mike ever turned me down on an idea, I'd be like, okay, I probably just I'll just
Oh,
I'm
man,
gonna
I don't
program
think we'll
drums.
do that
Like
song.
I does
Right.
not compute. It's so
Well, but then we have Z Frequency. We have Sam Potter on a track, and I know you guys recently do work a ton with Sam. And so it's so cool that as as we've all aged in and getting into our later years, where some of us are almost about to get that senior discount at Walmart. I can't wait, man. I'm close. I'm almost that guy at the door greeting you and handing you a card at this point,
man.
man.
Don't say that.
I'm just so, it's so much fun to be able to collaborate and flex, and kind of just spread wings and branch out and not feel like you are. Not that Old Man Johnson ever had this problem, but not feel like you are tied to a certain genre. I think that, with Hooray Hoo, there was an expectation of a certain sound, a certain vibe that we kind of had to kind of stick with. And there would be songs that weren't necessarily Hooray Hoo material. But now that, we're working on things like Z Frequency, there is no expectation of any of it, and you can really explore genres and styles and everything that the sky's the limit with it.
Speaking of Jordan, what are you up to these days? Like, what are some of your projects that you're doing? I know you work with Sam Potter. He's amazing.
Sam, I would say, along with Danny and Mike, like we've been playing music forever. Sam was a member of Old Man Johnson for a hot minute too. I have pictures of Sam that Danny has drawn in my studio at my music school.
That I've drawn? I can't even remember these.
Danny made a whole line. Made a whole line of Sam Potter stickers with Sam's head.
Oh no!
And underneath it, it just said Sam.
Poor Sam.
And a T-shirt with Sam's face.
He would just mail them out to people if you requested it. And so anytime we would go on vacation with my kids and my family, we would go around and put up Sam Potter stickers. I built a commercial building in Clinton, and inside the wall is a sticker of Sam Potter.
Forever solidified in brick and mortar.
The funniest was Danny drew a design and put Sam's face on a T-shirt. We didn't tell Sam. It just says OMG, and it's Sam's face, like super excited, saying OMG, it's OMJ. And,
I remember that. I remember that one.
Yeah. And Sam didn't know until he came to the show and saw a table covered in T-shirts with his face on it. And, I don't know why it's so funny, and I don't think he was happy at first, but he's gotta love. I mean, Danny does such a good job of immortalizing Sam Potter, and Sam, there's no one else like him. And anyone that knows Sam, he's a crazy dude.
Danny, don't you have a picture right there of Sam Potter, male nurse?
I probably do.
Oh man,
there it is. That's great. Awesome.
That is awesome stuff, man.
Yeah,
it is. But it really is so much fun, and it is so evident by, just anybody that's ever met you guys, can tell that there is just such a fantastic friendship, and I think it really comes through in your music. You can feel. You can't listen to Old Man Johnson and be in a bad mood.
There you go.
I think it's
one way to take
impossible.
away out of that is that what Matt just said. You can't listen to Old Man Johnson and be in a bad mood, or be put in a bad mood, or accentuate a bad mood by being.
If you're in a bad mood, put on some Old Man Johnson, and your bad mood's gonna go bye-bye, man.
Have you ever tried mixing Old Man Johnson?
I tried what?
No,
mixing Old Man Johnson.
That'll
put you in a bad mood.
I was actually gonna say, if you're in a bad mood, don't listen to Old Man Johnson, because it's not gonna help. But if you're in a good mood, you can listen to him. You probably enjoy it. No, you guys are
man.
awesome. So you all have your own projects, but you all kind of like, it's almost like a cycle around the sun. At some point, you guys all like have any clips where you get together and jam, and
That's exactly how it is.
yeah. So
Well, it really is. It's every about November, because that's when Mike's business kind of starts to peter off, and Mike has a little more time, a little more energy, and then we start getting the text from Mike going, "Hey guys, we should really release this music," and then we will inevitably make a post on social media saying, "Hey, we're here, releasing our music, guaranteed to come out this year."
yeah, don't do
And
that.
then another year will go by,
Yeah.
and Mike's like, "We should get it.
Yeah.
We should do it." And we release another video. It was really funny with these songs, these like Spider Bomb's a part of like 5 new songs that were
Right.
slowly leaking out. And I keep telling the guys, they're like, "We should release it." And I'm like, you know what? It's funner to say we're going to release it and never release it and get people hyped up. Because you when you release new music, you have this just endorphin rush.
Sure.
Releasing music and having people listen to it for the first time, and you love seeing people's response and reaction, and it dies out after a couple weeks, and then you almost feel worse
Right.
for it. And I'm like, it's kind of funner to drag this thing out for 15 years and keep getting endorphin rush on the idea that we're going to release it.
Every year, you big things to come.
Exactly. So
No, that's funny. You guys got such a great
old
sense of
Old
humor.
Man Johnson is like 7-Eleven, man. You may not always be doing business, but you're always open.
yeah,
All right, we'll take it.
I like
Thank,
that.
you,
Yeah.
thank you, Boondock Saints.
so many one-liners that are going into our new bio.
Right.
All right, man. Hey, happy. My royalty schedule is very reasonable too. So
Nice.
Nice.
Excellent.
Actually, I mean, I work for Swag.
So I've got to
That's-
ask you.
You have more Old Man Johnson swag than I do. I don't have
I know.
shirts. I don't have CDs.
I told him.
got
I
nothing.
said I want a sticker at least. Let me have.
I will. I'll give you one of each size, but no more. I'm
Nice.
hoarding the rest. The rest are going up in restrooms around the Sugar House area.
Love it.
Hey, everybody. Like we always do, we want to make sure you're listening to our podcast guest music, so we created the podcast personal Spotify playlist. We call it the guest list. You can find it on Spotify by searching for it, or you can find a link below. Support our guests by listening to their awesome tracks on the guest list. For example, Old Man Johnson is on the playlist. You can check out their new release, Spider Bomb, and you can also listen to a lot of other guests on the playlist. Check out the guest list, please, and thank you. We appreciate you. So, you still play guitar, right, Jordan? I mean, obviously you still do.
Yes.
So do you still do? You have projects? Would you be open to doing a project with Z Frequency?
Oh,
Like
I'm
a
always
collab
open.
song, or
That sounds super fun, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
I teach, and I'm a co-owner of a music school in Layton called Encore Academy. So I've still got my guitar in my hand 12 to 15 hours a week. And then but when COVID hit, I think I was in 3 projects at the time COVID hit. Old Man Johnson was actually the last thing. We recorded Sucker for Your Love on March 11th, the same night Rudy Gobert touched all the mics and coughed on the mics. Yeah. It was that night that the NBA got shut down.
Oh,
We were
that's
up at Weaver
right.
Stadium
That was right. That's right.
Oh,
recording with
man.
Aaron Hubbard, and it was supposed to be 2 nights of tracking. And at midnight, like, the janitor kicked everybody out and said, "You got to go home, can't be on campus." So yeah, at the time of COVID, I was playing with Old Man Johnson. I was playing with a band called Brothers Brim. I was playing a band called the Bill Bittner Experiment, and tried to kind of hold on to things through COVID, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense. And so right now I'm just teaching, but yeah, man, I'm always open to track when I can make time for it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, I've had John McCollum, I've had Wim Becker, I've had Sam Potter on a track,
Yeah.
and I've had Mike over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
In fact, Mike's
then-
always the kickoff to putting a track together, because with Z Frequency, how it works is that Zach will have kind of the bones of a song, And he'll send the demo out to whoever, to the people he's decided, okay, I want this. I'm pitching it to this guitar player, this bass player. I mean, I'm always going to be glomming on and hanging around. But he'll send it to Mike. Mike will get his drum stems down, and as soon as the Mike's drum stems come back, then the song is really kind of started.
Oh,
and
levels up immensely.
And it's kind of an event, and it's an event because Zach will say, I got Mike's drum tracks back, and he'll send it to me, and I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
But then piece by piece, as every piece comes back and everybody gets to add, that's the cool thing, is that everybody kind of adds their unique flavor and spice to the mix. So the final product ends up sounding very different than the bones that Zach initially comes up with, because, you know, it's there. And that's part of it's by design that, you know, we want all of these different, you know, players and musicians and artists to kind of add their flair and put their stamp and add their signature to that track.
Right. That sounds cool. And what a cool time that's even like a possibility. I mean, I remember the idea of doing collabs way back in the day, that you had to bring people into the studio. You had to get studio time. You had to get everybody together to really flesh out the ideas and stuff. And the idea now that it's like everybody has a relatively decent, you know, DAW and recording setup in their home for the most part. And you can just send the stems around, and makes it so much easier. And the fact, like, just look at us right now, just being able to connect from all over the state at the same time. I mean, if we had to be in the same room at the same time, just so much creativity wouldn't be able to occur, because we just wouldn't have the schedules to do it. So I think it's really cool what you guys are doing. You know, like, if that's an invitation,
I want to extend the invitation to Danny too, if he might be interested in that. I know you play bass and you play guitar too. I know you do a lot of acoustic stuff.
Yeah, I play guitar. I play, you know, mostly acoustic, but I've got electrics and stuff if you want a little bit of that.
I'm always in the hunt for bass guitars too. Like, that seems to be in short order for some reason. And
I could definitely do some bass stuff.
Yeah,
Danny is.
Go ahead.
Danny's a phenomenal guitarist. He was Danny, how long did you teach guitar for?
I taught guitar for about 8 years.
Okay,
like, that's crazy that it was that long.
Full time. Yeah.
And Danny was, I mean, he taught kids the shred. I mean, he was an inspiration to me. Like, I've been teaching now for 13 years, and it was seeing Danny do it and turn music into, you know, his daily bread.
Right. Passion, obsession.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the way that you can really kind of just make your life happen. And, but yeah, he's a phenomenal guitarist.
I was an absolute failure as a trumpet teacher, man. I had one student, and he wasn't interested in learning how to read music. He wanted to learn how to play Real Big Fish songs and start a ska band. And when he refused to learn how to read music, I refused to teach him anymore.
See, you have to take a different approach, man.
You should have just taught him the ska songs,
right?
Man.
That's what I was like. Take a different approach.
I was like, but at the same time, dude, I'm making a little scratch on the side with this, man.
I remember taking piano lessons after I had like taught myself to play piano by ear, and I remember the first lesson he gave me some like sheet music to kind of, and it was like Mary Had a Little Lamb, London Bridge. I don't know what it was, and I'm playing it, and he could watch me trying to play it, and he looked at me and he's like, "You're not enjoying this?" And I'm like, I can play stuff that's better than this, you know? And he's like, well, let's hear it, you know? And so I played something that I wrote, and he's like, all right, yep. He's like, you're not going to read sheet music anymore. I'm just going to teach you how to do chords, majors, minors. And after that, that's kind of how I learned. And I went from there to, then he taught me some guitar too, because he also taught guitar. I'm like, well, teach me how to play guitar too. And I don't play a lot, but I remember, I think you remember Dan Quintana. He has that on cue music in Clearfield that he does at schools, like little school shop. He had actually hit me up. He's like, you should teach cigar box guitar lessons. And I thought about it, and I'm like, oh, it's so easy to play though. Like, I don't know.
Right.
It's not really a hard instrument to learn, but yeah, no, I think it's great that y'all kind of are teachers in like even a side hustle, or or just to
Right.
the passion to help, to teach some young, aspiring artists to learn their craft. I think that's great. You guys are all stand up. Absolutely awesome. I didn't want to make this whole podcast about pitching with Z Frequency, but I'd love to have you guys on, and I hope to see like more Old Man Johnson stuff.
So do you guys have a time frame in mind for releasing the other tracks that you already kind of have in the hopper? Are we looking at like 2029?
Yes.
Or
Let me let me just tell you guys, we got a brand new release coming out soon.
this
Stick
year,
around, you're gonna
for
love it.
sure.
This year it's coming out. Stay tuned, stay close. Can't wait to release it.
Love it.
Mike's actually he's been mixing the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say he's been mixing it for 15 years, but Mike has turned into the in-house engineer. Mike has gotten really good at tracking and mixing, and Mike's always been, what's the nicest way to say it? Mike's always been the most
Opinionated
when it comes to sound. So it's great though, because his strong opinions have just really led him towards honing his craft on mixing and mastering. And so like we kind of have he's been working on it on the next song. I think, are we probably releasing Evil versus Semi-Evil Part 2?
We could, but I
believe.
think Dying is done also. So that one probably just needs a quick remix, as opposed to, I think there's some more work in recording that's going to have to happen with Evil versus Semi-Evil Part 2.
Dying is a great song that Danny wrote about moving a couch after his grandma died, and moving a couch with his brother, and a dime fell out of the couch. And he had wondered about how long that dime had been in that couch. And the odd thing is about money is, as time goes on, that dime is worth less. And it's kind of like, it's kind of like humans. As time goes on, unfortunately, the longer we go, the less value we sometimes are perceived to have. I know it sounds
not a physical sense, like in the working class, we're like the old, we're the old mare put out to pasture for sure. But
it's a great song that Danny put all those lyrics to, and I think that one's pretty close to being done, and I'm excited to get that one out because, I just think there's some moments in that song that are just, Danny writes, when Danny's like left to do it, to like really come up with the crux of a song, he's just really poignant. In one of the songs that Danny wrote, I still say this to this day, the saddest song, and it almost brings me to tears every time I listen to it, is a Woodcarver song that Danny wrote called Like a Weed. And it's like feeling like you're a weed in a beautiful garden. And like every time I listen to that song, I'm like, oh, this guy is such a good lyricist and songwriter. And I think Dime, which is probably going to, like Mike said, probably would be our next release, comes off that, and just Danny crushed that one with the lyrics.
Yeah. No,
well, thanks. That's nice of you to say. I'm
yeah, man.
I don't know. Right now, I'm in a slump. I haven't written a good lyric in all year.
Same
like
here.
It takes me a year to write a song.
I'm
Z Frequency is still dipping into songs that Zach wrote 4 or 5 years ago, man.
And they're all instrumentals, because I just don't write lyrics. And like this whole year, last year was, I'm gonna do this every month. We're putting out a new song, and we pretty much did all the way up to like October. But it would be like I would be pitching this months in advance, right? So I'd give Mike Lomax plenty of time to do, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I need some time," and then like it'd be like 2 weeks later, like, or a week later, here you go, and I'm like, "Dang, all right, okay, next, yeah, exactly." So he's very proficient. He'll be like, "I need some time," but then like 2 days later, he's like, "What do you think of this?"
So is Spider Bomb the first self-produced track you guys have released, like where you did the mixing, the mastering, all of it in house?
We've done everything, haven't we? No,
yeah.
We've had some help with mixing.
Life Saving Apparatus was mixed by Matt Weiniger. He was the guy that did all those Primus albums, and he's won a bunch of Grammys in the last few years. He's back in San Francisco.
I think he's in
he mixed. What was that?
He's in Texas now.
Oh, is he in Texas?
Unless he's moved again, but that was the last place I've heard. It's been a minute since I've seen anything on him.
Wow.
Yeah, Matt Weiniger, thank heavens, like got a hold of Life-Saving Apparatus, because we sent him some pretty
Rough
tracks, and he really kind of did some cool things with them in the studio. But no, A Conversation with Tom Foolery, our first album, that was all self-produced, self-recorded. I had joined the military, and I got my bonus when I got out of basic training, and I got like a $6,000 bonus, and I spent everything, 100% of it, on a Roland VS 1680 recording console.
Nice.
No preamps. You could track 16 tracks max. You could use two effects at a time. That's it, and it costs more than a used car, you know.
Yep.
And that's how we recorded that whole first album.
Nice.
And we kind of cut our teeth for a long time just doing it that way.
Oh yeah.
But we recorded everything on A Conversation with Tom Foolery. We tracked everything on Life-Saving Apparatus, but had Weiniger mix it. We had another album called Unreleased Super Hits. We recorded and mixed all of that. And then the most Spider Bomb was all recorded, and then Mike mixed that. But we had Aaron Hubbard record all that.
Yeah, and that was recorded at Mike Green's studio in Holiday. So that and the whatever 4 other songs we recorded at the same time. And then
A Sucker for Your Love was recorded up at Weber State at their new recording studios.
Well, except the drums were up there, maybe the bass too, but I think we redid all the guitars and the vocals.
Oh, did we? That could be it.
Yeah.
Well, I know I've had conversations with Mike back and forth on Z frequency mixing and all, and it's a continuing thing. In fact, actually, before you guys showed up, he was showing me his new reference book.
Oh, yeah.
It was looking at some point too. There you go, right there. There it is. Yeah, I was like, oh, you got it. I had it in my cart, and I was like, because here's the thing, like my wife always gives me a hard time anytime I try to buy something off like Facebook, because there was one time where there was it was a lamp that was like a nuclear bomb, right? It was like this, it's like this nightlight that was an atom bomb that had got mushroom cloud bomb, yeah, and really cool, right? You know, I'm like, oh, this is so cool, and so I bought it, and I waited for weeks, and then it came back, and my wife called. I was at work. She's like, "Hey, your package came in," and I'm like, "Yeah," and she's like, "It's kind of small though," and I'm like, "What?" And so she takes a picture of it. It's this little box like this big, you know, and I'm like, "Go ahead and open it," and she opens it, and it was like this like plastic baby unicorn that was like a little baby nightlight you put in the crib. And I'm like, she's like, wow, that's quite the nightlight there, Zach. I'm like, that's not what I ordered, you know. So
do I have to detonate the baby unicorn to get the mushroom cloud?
So now, anytime I even think about it, I bring it up. She's like, no. You know what happens to you when you buy on Facebook? Don't do that.
I bought this really nice chair, man, but it was this big.
Yeah, she's like, every time I bring it up, like, oh, I'm thinking about buying this off of Facebook, and she's like, atom bomb, I don't know, you know,
atom bomb, mushroom cloud.
But yeah,
mushroom cloud.
But I did see that book, and it actually was part of me is like, I want to see it to see, like, you almost want to look at that reference book, and I'm sure maybe this already went through Mike's head when he was looking at it, like, how much of this do I really know? You know, how much do I know versus what this guy did, you know? And in my head, I'll be like, yeah, I know that. Why didn't I just make this book myself? You know, like,
right.
The thing,
I bet there's some things in there you probably don't know.
The thing with recording and the approach that I've taken is to just try stuff, right? See what happens, see how it sounds.
Yep.
And over the course of 10 years or whatever, you've picked up all these different little nuggets of knowledge about recording and mixing. But it's not like this continuous line of knowledge that you're receiving. You're just getting these little pieces here and there.
Especially if it's YouTube. Like, if you're,
exactly.
It's not linear.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm hoping that, like with this book, that I'm probably going to know a bunch of it, but I'm assuming, and I already know because I've looked at a couple of pages, that there are a few things that I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. This is going to help me out a little bit right here. So I'm excited for that. Give me a little confidence boost in my abilities.
So I mean, we touched a little bit earlier about, you guys were in the process of doing a bunch of studio work when the world shut down in March of 2020. Did you find that because a lot of the artists we talked to, have commented on on how being forced into isolation kind of accelerated their knowledge and ability on self-producing, on self-recording, on doing more things remotely and in-house. Did you guys did you guys find that your skills and your focus when we were all kind of forced into isolation took a giant step forward, or how did you guys kind of handle and cope through that?
Yeah, I spent more time trying to record stuff. I know Danny put an album out, during COVID, and so I sent tracks to him. And that was, I think, my first time submitting tracks that I recorded to somebody else to have them mix. So maybe Danny can speak more on what he did during that time period.
Yeah, well, just going back to Mike real quick, I've been the biggest beneficiary of Mike learning all this stuff about recording, because he's helped me out with all kinds of, that album that we were talking about. And even right now, I've had him mix these same 4 songs like 50 times.
Yeah.
But and he does a great job, and he's even dug up songs that I forgot about, and he's like, we should do this one, put this one on the album. I'm like, oh yeah, that song's not as bad as I thought it was. Maybe we should do that. But yeah, I recorded a whole album over COVID, and yeah, we did it just how we all do it now, just sending tracks out and having people record their thing and send it back. And it's pretty much like, whatever you want to record is what's going to be on the album. And
I kind of like that though too.
Yeah, it gives people, everybody can do just what they want, and they get their own piece of art out. And we even did the mixing session over Zoom, on a Zoom session with Aaron Hubbard, which was different. We had to calibrate our computers to get the audio and everything working right, but
latency.
Right.
Sounds like a latency nightmare, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. He knew how to do it. So I'm lucky to have, Jordan and Mike and Aaron and all those guys that are really technical about things, and they know how to do all that stuff. I've always kind of just been like, I'll just learn how to play the parts and hopefully not mess them up too bad, and let you guys worry about getting them to sound good.
Right. You're like, I'm just going to stay in my swim lane.
Right.
And, but you do great.
So
you're surrounded by a wall of not just like great friends, but talented people.
Right.
That
exactly.
are willing to help you. Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. And because I'm always the one submitting tracks to other people as opposed to the ones receiving these unknown tracks, how do you guys feel when you get the submissions from people and you're just like, wow, because it's going to change your song, right? You don't know exactly what they're going to turn in. I mean, maybe you do with me because you're programming a drum beat, but I mean, when you're getting these other parts in, you're like, oh, this totally changes this song. And is it always for the better, I guess is my question. Are you excited when you get these new parts? Or are there times where you're just like, that's not quite what we wanted? Because you're kind of trusting people when you send it out. And you're like, do something cool with this, and then you get it back, and what's it like?
Was that a question towards me?
Yeah.
So
right, Lomax flipping the script, man.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Up? We lost Jordan.
He'll come back.
He better.
The originally, yes, you're right. And there was one time where a track came back and I was just like, and this one too. I think it was in Resort when I asked Chris Olsen to send guitar tracks back, and he sent it back, and it just sounded so weird to me. Like, yeah, and I'm like, and I couldn't quite understand it, and I'm like, okay. And I think you even texted like, is this all right? Not what I hadn't. Yeah, like not what I envisioned, and it's not, And you were really careful not to like look. I don't want to step on your toes, but I've got a red flag on this one, And I was talking to him about it back and forth, and he's like, he's like, no, I thought you were going to play the cigar box guitar part
over the top
with it, yeah. And I said, oh, because I had originally taken that out, and when I put it back in, it sounded amazing. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, no, you actually need to do this part too,
Right.
And so, yeah, so he fixed it. And that is one of the most beautiful songs I think Z Frequency wrote, as far as just a great pop romantic type song. Z Frequency apparently is all over the place. And so you're right. There is a huge amount of trust. And I've gotten to the point now where I kind of know when I feel the bones. Like with you, it's like I always know it's gonna be good. Like I just have that absolute trust. Like I send it to Mike, it's gonna come back, it's gonna be golden. And it's like the cement foundation of like, okay, this is where the song's gonna build from. But as far as like guitarist flavors and like the different styles of different guitarists that we work with, like Wim is different, John McCollum is different, Jeff Huso is very different, Chris is different. They're all very different, even Sam Potter. But I think anyway, maybe I'm just a good judge of character, but like when I hear like in my head, like, okay, I think I'm hearing this kind of a style, it usually fits within one of those guys, know? And so
that gives you a lot of different styles to play with those guys.
Right. And so like if it's, and like Chris Olsen couldn't have been a better guitar pick for Resort, where I don't think like Reconcile or Sunsets in Summertime would have been a better pick if it wasn't Wim. You know what I mean? Like I don't think like it was like that's what it needs to be.
And the song
and with
Greg Griffith on it, that one sounds amazing.
Oh, and Greg Griffith, yes, that is actually it's funny you bring that up. I should have brought that up first, because when I was thinking of that song, he was the first person I thought of to play guitar. And so I was so happy that he agreed to do it, because I was like, I hadn't talked to him in years, and I was like, hey, I'm writing this music, and man, he just killed it. And Thrill Seeker, it happened to be like our best performing song on Spotify to date. It's still the top performing song, and it
how many strings do you have on that?
Like over 6,000 something. I don't know.
Yeah, we cleared 6,000.
It's not
a
a lot
to go.
Nice.
I mean,
for a local
for us,
person, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's the most we have. Like everything else is under 1,000.
Yeah.
As of to the moment, 6,203.
Nice. There you go. Yep. And it's such a
think
great
something
song.
like-
And I can't wait to do something similar with. I can't wait to get. Like I'm always wanting to pull in more people. Like, hey, let's come join the club, But yeah, the one thing I don't have, and that I'm trying to figure out, is like eventually I'd like to do some shows on occasion live, and we need a live band for that, and I need to find a group. And I've talked to you about it, Mike, of course, but I've got to still find a bassist and a guitarist, somebody who's willing to like, yeah, I'll learn, a set worth of these like 40 minutes of these songs.
Well, and that shows you, Mike, he's talked to you. He hasn't asked me to do it yet. So
Yeah.
I can't get you to leave.
It's just a tune that you're in.
I'm the shit you just can't seem to scrape off the bottom of your shoe, man.
No, you're like the kind of guy that's like where you try to say goodbye and you slowly walk out the door, and then it goes out into the driveway, and then you're in your car and you actually have the car turned on and the window down. They're still like, you gotta go, dude. Now,
Well, man, I told you years ago. I'm in.
He's my ride or die for sure. So, yeah,
Very cool.
but
what's one piece of advice that you would give to a band that's just starting out, to ensure that they have a positive experience, or have a little bit of because obviously you guys have figured out some kind of a great combination for longevity, and because you're 25 years later, you're still around, you're still kicking out songs and everything, and with extended breaks in between.
Yeah, it's very easy. Just do it for the money.
Yeah.
You're sure to go far. You're sure to go far doing that.
We've had
Yeah,
so many
well-
conversations about, and you guys have probably had this conversation, but me and Mike and Jordan and Sam, we always talk about how we wished we could quit music, but we can't. It's like we didn't choose to
Right?
do it. It chose us.
Right?
Like, imagine how much money we could be making if we didn't have to worry
Imagine
about
how
playing
much
all this music.
free time you would have.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how much yes, like it just reminds me of there's a Boingo song or Danny Elfman talks about where like he's like I could be at home watching TV and drinking beer, you know, and I think about that, I'm like why and then and then there's but then you also have like at least me anyway, I have these times in my life where I'm like I wake up and I'm like what the hell am I doing with my life? Like what is this? What's the point?
Daily,
you know?
daily.
Yeah,
Yep.
and like just sell it all, you know, and then I'm like I feel down and bummed and like nobody likes me, you know, like it's just self-pity party. I don't know, it's weird, and I know it's just like cyclical, and then like I hate it, and I give myself enough time, and sometimes I'll reach out to like Matt or some friends. I'll be like, yeah, dude, you got it, you're good, man. No, you have no idea, you know, what kind of an impact you really have on people. And it's
Right.
true, you know, like you have no idea, like you, like every time we go to Walmart, you bring a smile to my daughter's face from a song you wrote 20 some years ago
Yeah.
about Walmart, you know? I'm like, those are the kind of impacts you just don't realize you have on people. So,
Right.
Well, you know,
And
I
I
guess
guess
It's
that's
like that. I mean, everything you were saying, it's that same kind of cycle that goes through, and then you have other times where, you know, playing music. Like I play at Slackwater, the pizza place, and sometimes it feels like no one's even listening, or, you know, why am I doing this? But then, you know, afterwards you look in the tip jar and you're like, well, they must have liked it because I just made a killing here.
well, you
Look for
have
the
the
money.
best tip jar in the state of Utah.
Yeah,
like it's like 50-gallon bucket.
I'm glad you remember it.
I can. How can you forget?
That
It's-
tip jar.
It's he's got it. He's gonna show it. That's it. It's
Big
so
ass
good.
Yeah,
galvanized
tip jar
money
has-
bucket.
Has made me more money than any song I've ever written.
right. It's brilliant. Like Danny, you are a genius. You know, like in so many ways, you do so many things that are just so not just funny, but they're like they're marketing. You know, like light bulbs. Really, like you do stuff not even really thinking about it. Like, oh, this would be funny, but then like you said, it's like. Well, dang, people like it enough. They're like, they're actually going out of their way to put money in this giant tip jar, you know, just because it's
Right.
funny. Like I would do it, you
Yeah.
know. Even if I didn't
Is
like you, I'm like, well, that guy's got a sense of humor. I
Yeah,
gotta leave
moxie,
something
man.
for him.
You gotta,
We
you
tried
gotta
to figure out a
respect
way to make it funny for people to give huge tips, and if they thought they were
Just-
doing something funny, then it would
Right.
work out for me. So
Right. But I mean, I give you a lot of credit for doing stuff like Slackwater and stuff, because really you are an accessory to the venue, you know, like
yeah,
there might be like a table, right, or two that come out there to see you, you know, like, oh, I haven't seen Danny, or their family, you know, or like
Right.
you get like they're on the guest list and it's like, you know, your wife and your mom or something. But I mean, it's still, you're still doing it, you're still playing, and I think you're right. You mentally have to put your mind in there. Like I think bars are the same way. Like when we were playing a lot in Hooray Hoo, I used to think that the all age shows were always my favorite shows to play back
Right.
then, because at the bar, people were going to be there to drink whether you were there or not, you know, like
right.
they may like you, they may like, you know, but a lot of times it was almost like I can't tell you how many times I'd be in the zone. My eyes are closed. I'm singing the song. I'm feeling it, you know, and the song would end and all you'd hear is just people talking in their conversations,
Right.
you know, and then
You're
every
like,
now
"Why
and
And
then
am
one
I
guy, one
here?"
guy in the back, Play
Yeah.
some Skinner,
Yeah,
man.
you know, if there was or they'd be like, oh, the band stopped. They're waiting for an applause. You know, oh, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
The last
okay.
show we
Yeah.
played as the Hard-Hearted was at Brewski's in Ogden, and
Yep.
there's the bar on each side, and then the
Correct.
center part where you play.
Right.
There was literally not a single person in there when we were done. They were all on the bar
They
side.
all went to the sides of the bar.
Wow, you guys
We
killed it.
cleared the house.
Yeah.
All right.
Mike
Talk
and
about
I-
spider bomb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike and I,
But yeah,
Mike and I
no,
played in a.
but the all
Mike and I
ages
played
shows,
in a-
you knew they were
They
there,
were there to
you
see the,
because
to
they
see
paid
the
money
show.
to see just you. You know,
Well,
like,
they
that
were
was-
usually there to see like. Nine
Well, yeah,
Spine
I mean, I meant you as in the bands, not you. I mean, there was probably a group of us, you know, that were there to see us too, but yeah, and now it's like we tried an all ages show, and we just felt like No Country for Old Men, like we just were out of our
Oh, yeah.
element. Yeah, like you know,
now it's like, you know, but now that, you know, honestly, the biggest thrill for me with the little you know, Hooray Who resurgence that we had, play those all ages shows that we played, my biggest thrill was seeing our kids. You know, Zach and I both have daughters that are within a few months of each other, and seeing the two of them decked out in their little Hooray Who t-shirts,
Yeah.
jamming out and dancing right up front, man. It's
Yeah,
like
that is cool.
just that made the whole damn thing worth it, man. Because you know, because, you know, especially because for the most part, our kids never got a chance to see us do our thing. Now, you know, certainly our kids never got to see us do our thing in our prime when,
Right.
you know, in the day where we were packing shows and we were really putting on a tight show. But just, you know, the chance for them to be able to share it with them and see, and see them getting down,
it's okay.
fantastic.
I think that's one of the. I think that's one of the.
Why
Yeah,
you
I
got
know.
a harsh
Yeah,
my
I was
mellow,
joking.
man?
I was just joking. So anyway, we've gone over the hour mark, and we're gonna kind of wrap this up and say goodbye. We lost Jordan. I thought he was gonna come back, but his battery probably died on his phone.
Or he just got sick of our shit. and
Yeah,
said,
he's like, I'll be right back. Click.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
hold, please.
but real quick, I wanted to bring up, because we were talking about it before, Matt and I. So, Mike, you have some pretty cool little Spotify playlists. You have one that says stuff Mike's plays drums on,
Oh, yes.
and then
And it's, I mean, and I looked at it today. You're up over 80 tracks right
Wow,
now.
is there that many on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and there's, I mean, gosh, I didn't count how many different bands are on there,
Yeah.
but there's got to be a half a dozen, because there's a couple of full albums. There's, and it's just amazing, man.
I need to go.
Mike's
I
the
need to go on
drummer
that.
for. Mike's
go
the
ahead.
drummer for all of northern Utah.
Right, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think I need to go on check out his list. Oh, there he is.
Okay,
He's back. He came back
Quick,
just in
I
time.
can't believe Mike. I think Jordan's all right, man.
Yeah.
No, it's so weird.
Come
I
on,
was-
guys.
I was
Let's
on-
be nice to Jordan.
I was on the whole time.
Oh,
that
were
was
ya?
so strange. I was on. I could see you guys. I could see my own camera, and I kept trying to chime in. I'm like, and you guys kept talking. I'm like, man, they really don't want to hear what I'm saying.
That's how
You know, and for some reason, and then you're like, well, I thought Jordan was going to chime back in. I'm like, oh, I'm not even. They don't
like,
even
I'm
see me.
here.
Okay.
He
So-
just hit the camera. He just put mute. And that. No, that's great, man. No, but we were just about ready to wrap up the. I'm glad you came back on, but
So do you guys, is Old Man Johnson strictly a studio band now, or do you guys first see yourselves getting back into getting back on, and not necessarily, you know, live shows consistently, but at least a live show or two?
I'd like to play a show or two.
Sure. Absolutely.
I would too.
Z
As
Frequency
time
will open up for you guys.
You know, what's really funny as time has gone on. I think I've said it to Mike and I've said it to Danny. It's like, why did I even venture out into all these other projects? Like, I should have just kept sticking it out with these guys. Because even now, like, don't get me wrong, like, I've been a part of projects that I've really loved and done some really cool things with. But I think the stuff that we've written, those old albums from when we were 19 and 20 years old, still resonate with people way more than anything else I've done. And I think it's because humor is just such a social lubricant. It's something that everyone can get into, everyone can enjoy, and everybody loves to laugh. And if you can make people laugh, and make them feel good, you can just really connect. So as time has gone on, I've often thought, I would love to do more with these guys, and I think it would be really fun. I think it would be really fun to do a show. We actually have a venue at our music school now, a little small stage and
really?
And little room. Yeah, and it'd be fun to put on a show where we just probably obliterate everyone's eardrums because the room is that small.
Awesome.
But it would be fun to do, and if nothing else, tracking and recording and videos. You had asked earlier, what advice would you give to young people just getting into it? And I would say you have more access to the planet to enjoy your music than ever before.
Correct.
Like when we were coming up and doing our thing, like the idea of like getting quote unquote distribution, even if a radio station played my music in Ohio, what could we possibly do with it? How could people get the music? How could they buy the album? How could they ever even consume outside of what they heard on the radio? So what was the point in doing it? And nowadays, oh my gosh, you've got so much access. You've got the planet. And like you were saying before, like getting 6,000 streams, that's a real accomplishment, on a song. Having that many people listen to it, but really it's crazy what's available. It's crazy what's available to put out there and what people can do. So I would just be encouraging to people to just say, like I have a lot of my young students coming up that are playing and writing music and stuff. And it's just put it out there, get your music online, use the tools that are out there. Don't begrudge the Spotify model that doesn't pay anybody.
He's not gone though. He's like in the ether. But he's got a point though. Like, he was basically saying that it's never been better as far as get exposure, like being available, and he's right. And the caveat to that is that it's also never been harder too, though, because now everybody can put their stuff out there. But I think aside from being enjoyable and laughable and that kind of thing, that Old Man Johnson, the aura that you guys project, the other thing too is that I think you had a following, and it may be small, maybe local, whatever, but they grow with you, and so anytime like me, for example, I'm a good example of that, where I was a fan of you guys way back, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, we got a new song coming out called Spider Bomb, and I listened to it, I'm like, holy crap, this is so good, and it's like all of a sudden I'm a super fan again, and I think that people our age, or like you have these generations, like and I've noticed it with like Hooray too, when we play gigs and stuff, like there's the old fan base, right? They're all they were all teenagers back then. Now they're adults with kids with teenagers, and it was just more of a moment. And so you guys have created a moment in time where people can share and camaraderie, and I think it's great if you guys do something live, even if, like I had suggested, maybe doing a live stream that would be cool too, to kick it off, I guess, or just do live. But I would be all about that. I will be there for sure if I can, and hopefully maybe like Z Frequency could do it too, and be in kind of an opener of that. But
awesome.
Anyway,
yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to do something like that, and it's just coming back and releasing Spider Bomb. That's kind of like reignited my, I don't know, my love for Old Man Johnson. So it's like,
I know it'll feel good for about a couple months.
The music world is better with Old Man Johnson in it. Right. So people can find you guys all over the socials. You guys are on. I've seen you all over Facebook. Where are you guys on the other social platforms? Is there one that you favor over the others?
We're on Instagram, Facebook. We have a YouTube channel. That might be about it. Danny, anything else?
Yeah.
Well, hey, Mike, will you do me a favor and email me, or Danny, email me the links to those, and I'll make sure to put them in our descriptions.
I think they're in that initial thing that we.
Yeah. You guys actually submitted the survey. Thank
form,
you for doing that. But the form that helps out a lot. I forget that I do that because
and then
it takes
then
out all of that
obviously-
busy stuff away, you know,
Right.
so we can set it
And
up.
then obviously you guys are on Spotify, but you know, just the disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to listen to Old Man Johnson, please put on an extra pair of socks
and underwear.
because and your Wimbecker thong,
Yes.
because they will rock your socks off.
Right.
In fact, I believe Danny, it might have been something you put together. I think I saw something to that effect on a flyer for an Old Man Johnson show at one point. I think
You
that's where I
probably
got
did.
the extra pair of socks
Yes.
idea.
Absolutely.
We used to always come up with some really stupid things to put on flyers, and
Great.
we were talking
Great.
about how awesome it was being in bands back then and just spending all night at a Kinko's making flyers.
Yeah.
Zach worked
I
at
worked
Alpha
at
Graphics.
Alpha
Oh,
Graphics.
yeah, I remember that.
So I got the Alpha Graphics discount.
Nice.
Yeah. So you'd spend half the night running off flyers, and then the other half driving around, around town, posting them at Gray Whale and all of the coffee
Yep.
shops and all of
Yep.
and anywhere people were,
And our
that would
mailing
allow
list.
you to put them up.
Yes.
You know, like we had this mailing list where we'd send out postcards once a month of like all the shows we had, and that actually was
Wow.
very effective. And it's just funny because nobody sends postcards anymore. You can't afford it. But
Yeah.
emails, you know, they still email mailing list is huge, and I'm trying to tap into that slowly, but marketing is like a whole nother animal. But anyway, I want to say,
it used to be.
yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
You guys are awesome. We'll have to have you come back, and such a fun conversation.
Great.
So
Yeah,
Well, it's
Fireball,
fun.
thanks again for having us. It was good to talk to you guys.
yeah,
Absolutely,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
Well, we'll do it again, and we'll in 2029 when your next track comes out, we'll make sure and have you back.
Right.
That
Sounds
sounds
good.
great.
Big things coming, guys.
Big thing, guaranteed.
Stay with us.
Guaranteed.
Stay with us.
Book it. All right. Thanks, guys.
That was a great conversation with Old Man Johnson. It's always fascinating to hear the stories behind the music, and Spider Bomb is such a cool track.
Oh man, for sure. And even though they're not currently playing together, yeah, it's clear the chemistry is still there. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a reunion someday.
In the meantime, make sure you check out Spider Bomb on all streaming platforms. And I mean, seriously, guys, you need to check it out. We'll have the links in the description below, along where you can follow the band and their individual projects.
And don't forget to check out Danny's other project, Woodcarver and the Hard-Hearted, and Mike's work with Z Frequency.
Which all you really got to do is go to zfrequency.com or check us out on the socials. And just about every track we do, you'll hear Mike hitting the drums.
That's right.
Also, sign up for our mailing list at zhzpodcast.com to stay in the loop on all things ZHZ Podcast. That would be exclusive updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more.
Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to join us next week when we sit down with Vibe Merchant. It's going to be another great episode. See you next time.